Hey everybody, it's Chuck,
Hi, I'm Dr. David Weir.
and we're from the Cigar Social, and we're here to do our review,
That's right, we're kicking off 2025 with the Gurkha.
Year of the Dragon.
Very exciting, man. So, a lot of hype about these cigars coming in. Actually, Chuck, this is the cool green label. This one looks like it's by AJ Fernandez.
AJ Fernandez, that's correct. Collaboration with Gurkha. This is an outstanding smoke, as everybody knows AJ Fernandez is.
Fantastic.
What a collaborator.
So, Gurkha's been doing their Zodiac series. So, here we are in Year of the Dragon from last year. What is the shape of this cigar?
This, I would call this a bellicose.
Okay, beautiful. And so we're looking at this. Actually, what I think I did a little bit of previewing on a few of these, and I think Gurkha actually picked 4 or 5 different manufacturers to give their take for the Year of the Dragon.
EP Carrillo is one of them.
Yep. Right. Oliva was one.
Oliva is one, correct.
Right. AJ Fernandez, obviously that's someone that we have here at the Cigar Social.
And the other Gurkha is, I am short on that. Which one was
I
it?
think there's a couple more. We can obviously.
Placencia, I know
No, it wasn't
Placencia did
Placencia.
a Year of the Dragon.
Yeah.
Maybe they did a Year of the Snake. I could be wrong.
So we're starting off with this. This is, when I read about this, we got Ecuadorian wrapper, Nicaraguan tobacco all the way through from AJ Fernandez.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, AJ for sure. He's
Yep.
from Nicaragua.
Yep. So that's what we're going to be smoking here. So Chuck, why don't you tell people how we should be cutting these?
I was going to say, yeah, let's make sure we understand that. So because we are a bellicose, coming to a point on both ends, right? The smoke end or the light end is already cut. No problem there. But notice we come to a point and we are sealed just like a regular cigar would be, just like a cap. So what I like to do is, my rule of thumb is don't take more than a pencil eraser off of a torpedo, any torpedo. So I like to use these custom scissors to cut my cigar, as opposed to going with a guillotine or a V-cut, because you can't control that. You end up taking too much of your cigar off.
Right.
And there's no point. As long as you get the cap cut, you should be good to go. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get in here. And what I also like to do, Dave, take a little bit off. You can always take more,
Right.
but you can't put it back on, obviously. Do a dry draw to make sure you got a decent draw going. Perfect. If I had taken more off just to get that draw initially, I would have taken too much off. The whole point of a torpedo is so that you get the smoke going down to a point, so when it hits your palate, it's hitting in a jet stream coming into your mouth.
That's right.
It's a really wonderful thing.
Right. And so what you just saw us doing there to test our draw, that's actually called a cold draw.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so some people, if their palate is designed up, they could pick up a few notes already. And some guys will talk about that. Not that we do that on every cigar, but especially when you're testing these pointy tips and you're just taking off a little bit, it's great to check your draw before you light that sucker up.
You get a little bit of taste from the tobacco on the stick itself when you put it in your mouth, but then when you do the dry draw, you're getting the tobacco notes in, the non-lit tobacco notes. And that is a great way to gauge what you're about to light up.
Right. So we kind of talk about this when I first do it. I pick up a touch of floral, like a flower almost, or maybe like a light mint. Not like an Altoid in my mouth or anything like that. Just very faint, very minus taste of that.
I'm getting that mint off of the smell of the tobacco itself.
Right.
But going back to your point, that floral, it's definitely there, and it almost. But you know what I taste? I taste all AJ Fernandez. But I guess I have smoked so many that I'm used to it by now. But anybody that is a fan of AJ Fernandez knows what I'm talking about. He's an outstanding cigar roller. Notice when you light the cigar, all you're doing is lighting the tip. You don't need to go crazy and do like you would do a normal roll. You don't have to worry about getting all the tobacco lit up on this, because it does it for you with the point. And what that will do is that will allow your cigar to burn efficiently.
Yeah, good draw coming off the start.
light draws to get this thing going. And the benefit of that is that you get to start tasting the early beginnings of this wonderful cigar.
Also noted this is a box pressed cigar. All right, so it's a nice rectangular shape to it.
Right out of the gate, the floral presentation is there. You get a nice sense of hearty tobacco. I can definitely taste the Nicaragua in it for sure. The Ecuadorian wrap is just what a nice complement to the rest of it.
All right. Now, typically, what would be tasting notes off of a typical Nicaraguan tobacco?
Typically, when you get into the Nicaraguans, you're tasting a lot of pepper, especially early on. You're tasting a lot of earth. You're tasting a lot of wood, cedar, sometimes mahogany, depending upon how depth your palate is and how you recognize the different notes. That's really up to the individual, but you do get a lot of earth. You do get a lot of. I mean, this is a full-bodied cigar, so you're going to get a lot of taste. But typically on Nicaraguans, you're getting a lot of pepper early on.
Yeah,
wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I say typically when I think Nicaraguan, I think peppery.
Mm-hmm.
We're not getting a blast of pepper. I'm really getting a little more floral and a little more wood note off the beginning inhale. Now, what about the Ecuadorian wrap? Or what is Ecuadorian? Does that add some some smoothness or some chocolateness to it? Or?
What I think it adds to it is more of a South American, sort of almost like a rainforesty taste.
Okay.
Right? So the Ecuadorian leaf tends to be very mild. It tends to bring a very smoothness to the cigar. So with the other tobaccos inside, the Nicaraguan tobaccos inside, that hardiness is toned down a touch with that Ecuadorian wrap.
Yes. Adds a little blanket to the pepper, right?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah. So basically, speaking with this, we're expecting some pepper to come through. You know, I'll be looking for that. But I like the nice light floral note coming out of the beginning when we started off with this. And then also you said we probably should be picking up some wood, as well as if you said like that mild kind of rainforesty thing, probably some vegetation.
A little bit, yeah.
Right? A little vegetation.
Yeah, a little bit of rain.
Some people may talk about hay or some grassiness. Yeah.
It's not overly grassy though. That's the thing. So don't look for that necessarily. Just kind of remember it's there almost. The one thing that I'm getting on this particular cigar right out of the gate is the draw. The draw is really, really good.
Yeah,
so
great draw.
I can over smoke this early on, and I don't want to do that. Notice that I'm a little bit. Dave and I are almost the same, but notice how his is perfectly symmetrical, whereas mine is starting to go off a touch, and that's because I'm over smoking it. It's because the draw is so good, and I'm a heavy smoker. So, having said that, don't overdraw the cigar, especially if you're trying to get the initial notes out of it, which is exactly what Dave is doing. He's evidencing this by having the floral, having the wood, whereas I'm focusing more on the draw.
The draw, yeah.
I would probably side with his style more than mine because he's going to taste a lot more than I am. I'm just trying to get the smoke. Going back to the torpedo, that's what you're getting. It directly shot right into your mouth. And yes, you do get the taste, you do get the notes, but you can get lost very quickly if you're not careful.
Typically, Chuck and I have been smoking this style of cigar. Again, like you said, bellicose. I want to make sure.
Or a figurado. You can call it a figurado as well.
As well. And so I typically default to a bigger, like a Robusto or bigger ring gauge. So I'm used to easier draws. These you got to work. It is a great draw on this cigar right away. But I have to work a little bit more for it in the beginning, but these really open up. I've really started enjoying the figurados and the bellicose that we've been smoking a few of those together.
True. Remember back the Angelino? Yeah. That was a really nice bellicose, and that was a true bellicose. That was point to point. This one is, now that you bring it up, this is kind of more of a figurado than anything else. It doesn't have the fatter end that figurados are known for, so that's kind of why I called it a bellicose at the beginning. But if you notice the style of it, especially the draw end, it definitely cones down to that figurado style. AJ Fernandez is not really known for his figurado as much as he is the torpedoes for sure.
Right. Now, Oliva does one of these too, so it kind of reminds me, we've smoked some of the Oliva series.
The Series G.
Series G, right? And that was Those are great.
That's a Cameroon. That's a wonderful smoke, especially in the morning when you have your coffee. If you're looking for something light, you know, as hearty as this cigar is, this would actually be a nice coffee cigar.
This would be.
I don't know what Dave's going to talk about in a minute about the bourbon side of things or the spirit side of things, but this would be a really nice cigar to go with some nice heavy morning coffee.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah. So yeah, if you haven't been smoking these styles of cigars, you know, it'd be something to open up your experience to, basically. Repertoire. Yeah, you could. Like I said, there is a little more work in the beginning. You know, I feel for smoking your standard bigger gauge, your traditional. If you're going for a traditional, I'm a V-cut person, but person who just does a full cut on the side, you're used to probably a bigger draw. So don't let that frustrate you. You know, like I said, you are getting the smoke more concentrated, more funneled onto your palate with that, but they really start becoming more enjoyable. You know, once you kind of learn how to smoke them. You know, and it's not scary to smoke them. It's just
a lot of people do come in and when you're going through the cigar selection process, they ask about a Figurado, they ask about a Salomon, for example, and they say, well, you know, what's the difference? What makes that different? You're not going to write a book on it, right?
No.
It's not that much different, but it's a different style because it smokes a little different. And it really, I point really down to where the smoke actually enters your mouth. It really does a direct shot straight in. Great for a reverse draw or
a retro hail.
Like a retro inhale. Some people like to do that. Some people don't have the time for it. I'm not a big retro hail person, and mainly because I smoked cigarettes way back and I stopped that, and I don't really want to get back into that habit necessarily, and I don't need to taste it on my nasal in my meat. I like to taste it in my mouth. And that's one of the reasons why I'm glomming to torpedoes and Figurados and Bellicose. That's one of the main reasons, because I really like that style. And it is all about style. It really is about you and your style.
Yeah. And how you want to smoke it. We have a nice, relaxing evening tonight here at the social. I'm ending my work week a little early, and talked about a review, and so we thought this would be a great way just to relax a little bit, savor some flavor, and go. So we're into our first third, kind of moving halfway through that first third. You know, so we're getting a little vegetation, not heavy pepper right now. There's some woodiness though. Okay, but nothing overpowering. Maybe like a light cedar. You know.
Yeah, definitely earthy tones.
Yeah, earthy tones.
I don't particularly like to use the term earthy. I think it's too broad, and I think it gives people a false sense of like a bunch of leaves bundled up and thrown into a cigar. That's not what we mean by earthy at all. What we mean by earthy is, or at least for me, is bringing the grassy, the wood, and the nut, sometimes nut, into it, and they complement each other. It's not like I said, it's not like you're grabbing a bunch of leaves and throwing it together at all. Like you're just smoking a bonfire. No. You're getting the taste, what A.J. Fernandez wants you to get out of these tobaccos. Which is really why the Ecuadorian is a really nice complement to this cigar. It really tones it down, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It brings it just back to, it brings a heavy cigar more towards the middle. Right? Yeah. A fuller cigar to the medium portion.
Yeah, typically, like I said, we talked about that Nicaraguan bringing a pepper tone, which is delightful to do, but this makes it more subtle. You're able, if you are looking for some of those palate flavors, you're able to pick some of those out. You know, we talk about earthy too, not grassy. We've smoked some that are very grassy or smell like a hay field and things like that, which not bad, not typically what I always look for, but I'm not picking that out of this though. You're thinking a really good blend though. You know, maybe like some lush grass, not overpowering.
Some of them want you to taste that.
Yeah.
They want to point towards the grassy taste.
And we did a Brazilian one.
I was going to say the
That's
CAO.
right.
That's
CAO,
the one that
that's
comes
right.
to my mind.
Yep.
It's supposed to taste that way. They're going for that rainforest, that Brazilian rainforest taste. This one, I wouldn't say it's pointing you necessarily in that direction. I think what we're doing is we're pulling this out, along with the cedar. Are you tasting any nut?
I am tasting a little bit. I would almost. I normally don't say this because a lot of times we talk about almond or macadamia nut on a buttery side. You know, I'm thinking, and it almost kind of tastes like a roasted peanut.
Ooh. Maybe an almond. You know, an almond tends to have a very monotonish taste to it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm necessarily tasting almond per se.
These are subtle flavors in the beginning. These aren't like knock you off your socks. The first few draws, I was getting some floral in there. You know, the cold draw when we were just testing our cut. You know, I did pick some like a mint, very light menthol off of it. You know, with the tobacco. But yeah, now I'm more into the earth tones, the wood, and I don't know. I'm thinking about like a roasted peanut.
Ooh.
Some of those delicious Virginia diner peanuts that you have here at the Cigar Social.
That we have plenty of. Come enjoy those. I don't think Dave is saying enjoy peanuts with this. He's saying he's pulling that taste from
Taste out, yes.
which reminds him of that.
Yes.
And I don't want to speak for you, but
No,
that's kind of what I'm picking up
I'm
on.
reminiscing of it. Yes, I'm not. So most of you haven't visited the Cigar Social yet. Let's just talk about that for, Chuck. He's a good East Coast Southern boy, and he brings out Virginia Diner peanuts. It's really cool. He introduced them to me. Premium peanuts.
Yeah.
Right?
Virginia peanuts or something else.
I mean, most of us grew up on planters, and hey, I'm not knocking anything there, but if you haven't had a Virginia Diner peanut,
once you try them, they're going to be hard to put down. That's for sure.
That's right.
Wakefield, Virginia, right across the James River from Williamsburg, Virginia. Most people recognize that name. I lived there for a number of years, and we would just jump the ferry and go over to literally the peanut fields of Wakefield and get to the Virginia Diner itself and bring the peanuts, send them all over the country. I brought a can of Virginia peanuts home the first time that I came home with my now wife, 30 years, love you dear, and introduced them to Dubuque, Iowa. And my mother-in-law buys a can of those peanuts every single Christmas. She has ever since the day she met me to this year. They were on the table every single year. That's how good they are, and that's how memorable they are. Wonderful.
Yeah, and so the traditional peanuts, roasted, salted, they got awesome flavors. They got some salt and black pepper. They have a sriracha honey that I've introduced several of my friends to, and that is a favorite. They have also, you can order like Old Bay seasoning, right?
Old Bay, yes. Anybody that has ever visited the East Coast will recognize Old Bay. It's a seasoning that you put on seafood. It's wonderful. Growing up in the South, we put it on everything. We put it on our Cheerios for crying out loud.
Yeah.
So it's it's an old favorite. But yes, they have, and there's a whole host of flavors that they have. Sriracha honey, sea salt and vinegar. Oh my gosh, the list goes on.
Yeah, great. So if you haven't been up here yet, one of the cool little things Chuck does bring to the Cigar Social, a little experience here, something classy. You would have to order these online, but hey, if you want to come up and grab a can, Chuck's got a few here for some of the patrons here, and it's really something cool. Little segue here as we're.
And actually, Shelby, our associate Shelby, she's put them out for free samples. So come up and get a sample of them. Come on up. We have them. If you like them, you can buy them. If you just want to have a few samples, they're there too for you. So come up and enjoy. Yeah, great bringing that up. That's awesome.
Yeah. So when we talk about that the reminiscence of, you've been in a bar, you got some peanuts, you're having a drink, having a beer, you throw a couple peanuts in your mouth, like that kind of subtle background. It's kind of, I'm getting a little remnant of that.
Yeah, I can see that. Now this thing just changed.
It did. We're moving into the second,
third. Yeah, we're going into the second, third. Correct. Good way to put it. It's started to settle down. Started to get into I'd say its prime.
Yes.
Of really what this cigar is all about. Still very natural tastes. Again, I don't like to use earthy. I think that's a little bit too easy. But the draw is wonderful.
The draw is really good.
Josh will love this thing.
Yeah, it's a great, a lot of taste in this cigar, but no overpowering. Again, I keep looking for the pepper. I'm not getting. I'm waiting for the pepper to hit me, and it hasn't hit me yet. But I'm still catching those earth. I'm catching. I caught a little hay. On there. We're in Iowa. You get the hay fields going out there. You know what I mean? Not in a wet, musty thing, but just fresh flavor, fresh earthy flavors. I would say.
Yeah, I can taste that.
Yeah. That's what my mind would go to, that, like a lush field, green grass, fresh hay, and some of those wood tones. I'm getting a little cedar.
I'm getting the wood tones for sure. I think I'm starting to get a little bit of cacao in there too.
Yeah.
A little bit of dark chocolate. Dark chocolate. And let me preface that, because think about when your mom, your grandmother used to bake. They would pull the can of Hershey's baking chocolates out, and you'd run over and dip the spoon in and take a big bite, and it was just as sour and as tasteless and gross as you could possibly make it. It was like you threw a bunch of hay in your mouth, but you got that rich sort of firm chocolateness, but without the sweet.
Yeah.
And that's what we're getting.
Because when you're a kid, you look for that sweetness. And now I think as you get a little older, you start. Wasn't a dark chocolate fan when I was a kid. Love it now.
Yeah.
And I think there's some subtle cocoa.
Cocoa
Really,
is a good way to say it.
It's a good balance, though. It's a really nice balance between some subtle flavors that you pick it up. And again, like I said, this would go great with a morning coffee.
Really would. Mm-hmm. Man, like an espresso or even a cappuccino. Well, a dark roast for that matter. And that's what I drink every morning. As you have heard many times, I like my Padron 2000s with my coffee in the morning. But I would definitely, this one with the Series G Oliva Cameroon, wow, is that a good cigar with coffee. My goodness. But maybe at the beach.
Yeah.
But
now also
my mainstay is
we're not quite in for the alcohol component of this. Honestly, I don't even know where I'm at with this cigar right now. I mean, if you enjoy your bourbon or whatever, honestly, I think a little crisp Iowa beer, man, one of your domestics would go really refreshing with this cigar. Nothing too complicated, Don't chastise me there. Don't chastise me there out in YouTube land, but a little, simple Bush Light, a Miller Light, a Coors Light.
A Bush Latte.
A Bush Latte. Something like, would not overpower. Just a little something crisp, just to cleanse your palate. Nothing complicated on that beer. Would be, because I would be afraid right now if I got something to a heavy stout or an IPA that would almost wash out the subtleness of this, because this is really beautiful. The subtleness of the flavors I'm picking up so far through this cigar.
I think this is a really good cigar. So far, we're well into the 90s on this one. Now, just wanted to show you, I was getting down a little bit close to my upper band. Depending upon the cigar you're smoking, some cigar companies, manufacturers will go crazy with their bands.
Yes.
They'll put multiple bands on there where you gotta, you start to get down. Don't remove your band too early and mess with your wrapper. Okay? The band is around the wrapper and it's got glue. Depending upon where the roller puts the glue, they could put it on the tobacco and on the paper. If you take that band off too soon, you're going to tear your wrapper of your cigar. So as the heat comes down the cigar, it loosens the glue. So you're able to lightly, ever so lightly, pull that band off. And you'll notice because the paper itself has gotten warm, the glue has gotten a little jelly, what would you call that, broken down. Or so I just removed both my bands because I didn't really want, I'm not a particular fan of smoking paper with my cigar. So off they came. You can certainly keep it on if you don't like your fingers touching your tobacco, which I get that. But just be ever so ginger when you go to take that off, because you will tear that outer wrapper, and they're very thin. There's usually maybe only one, maybe two leaves. That's it, and you will destroy your cigar.
Yeah, and you can know just by the heat of your cigar. The cigar heat will work its way up. They'll ever so slightly start to loosen that glue, and you'll feel it. So if you try a little early, you're going to fidget with it. Rest, wait, be patient, enjoy your cigar.
Very patient.
Right? Work it a little more. It'll come time, and you'll try it again, and it'll come right off.
Absolutely. And it comes off in its entirety. And a lot of people, what they like to do is they like to keep their band for their journal. Okay, so this is a beautiful Gurkha band. Notice it came right off, no problem. The other band.
Yeah.
So this way, if you put your band in your journal, you know exactly what you smoked that night. So you don't have to, oh, what was that cigar we smoked that night, Dave?
That's right. What was that
You
wonderful?
have the band in your journal, you're good to go.
Right. And so there is, so typically, when you think about the Chinese zodiacs, right, the typical colors are red, gold, right? And AJ actually did a green and gold. So we got a beautiful emerald green, beautiful gold foil. We got beautiful Chinese zodiac dragons coming up the side of this. Yeah, beautiful band. But that's what Chuck said. It's kind of cool, man. You don't have to be kind of there, but to keep a small journal or small notebook, you know, even like a, what do they call it? Like a, oh man, some gentleman would carry like a small little notebook, like a field book is what they call it. Some guys,
That's
right? And
a field journal.
A little field journal. So some guys, I know on YouTube, one of the things I like to look at is they call it EDC, right? Everyday carry, right? So I don't know if some out in YouTube land, so the gentlemen that come here talk about that. EDC is your everyday carry, what guys carry in their wallets. You know, it's pocket knives, it's wallets, it's some guys challenge coins, kerchiefs, right? Pens, right? Some guys it's their watches,
Punches.
yeah, punches,
Key fobs.
lighters,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
All this cool stuff you may carry. Some guys carry little flashlights, right? And,
Condoms.
Yeah. A lot of guys also in the EDC world talk about if they're 2A guys, what kind of firearm they may be carrying. But
right.
some guys will carry a field book, right? And just to jot down notes, right? Small little pamphlet in there. And so you can even take these and kind of just stick that in there for a little bit, take little notes. Because a lot of times, right, how many times people come here like, Chuck, I had this great cigar. And so
all the time.
Chuck is a detective. He has to figure out, you know, where you may have had it, what did it look like, what were you tasting?
Or they come in and mispronounce, and you have to kind of figure out where they're coming from. Or they are choosing the cigar choice, not the manufacturer, or they'll turn, or vice versa, manufacturer versus the cigar name. So, you know, oh, I had this great Gurkha. Well, which one did you have? I can't remember. Well, the Year of the Dragon, you're probably going to remember. I mean, that's, you know.
You should.
You should.
And this is a limited release, right? I think they only were a couple thousand boxes.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's a box of 10? Is it a box of 10?
I do believe so, yeah.
Box of 10.
50. Excuse me.
50. Okay. So right now, did we crack the box? No, the box is open. I see them over there. They're beautiful.
We have several more. Well, there's two more of this choice in the box it's open, but we have another box we just opened today. Excuse me. And then we have some Gurkha by E.P. Carrillo that's open over there as well. That's another. That's going to be a little hardier, a little stronger cigar, but still a very good one. So, going back to what Dave is pointing out, Gurkha, E.P. Carrillo, all by A.J. Fernandez collaboration. They're making somewhat of a comeback. Okay, they kind of dropped off for a number of years. A lot of people got turned off by them. They were expensive. They weren't changing. They were just status quoing. E.P. Carrillo, same thing. E.P. Carrillo is a wonderful cigar, no question about it. But he was moving over to Plasencia, using a lot of Plasencia tobaccos. Joined up with Ashton, joined up with Crown Heads. So a lot of different collaborations going on, but started to focus back on their roles and collaborated with A.J. Fernandez in this particular case for the Year of the Dragon, and then the other offerings that we have as well, the Faces, as we call in the business. So the bottom line here is that the common denominator here is A.J. Fernandez, right?
Yes, A.J. Fernandez.
I absolutely, as a very seasoned cigar person, love anything that AJ does. But whether it be Monte Cristo, whether it be with Rocky Patel, whether it be with E.P. Carrillo, whether it be with Gurkha, just wonderful stuff. I mean, they're coming out with some really, really good stuff.
I just hit a new note. I'm about halfway through. That floral is coming back for me right now, and I'm getting some underlying pepper right now. Floral on the top note, pepper as we move through is where I'm
White
picking
or
this
black?
up. I'm going to say a little more white, maybe a touch of black, not heavy, not like dominant flavor, but I had some very nice floral draws off this, which I wasn't quite expecting quite yet. Because typically if I pick up a floral scent on a cigar, it will be at the start of the cigar, the first couple draws. And I got a few beautiful waves of that.
I see where you're coming from. I definitely see where you're coming from. I'm getting something.
At the start of the palate, right? The start of the draw.
Yeah.
Start with a little floral, and then
I'm starting to slower exhale on these, so it's coming. I'm trying to keep it slower so I can capture a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely picking up on what you're talking about. I'm picking up on what you're laying down.
Picking up what I'm putting down, man. So this is a special release, right? And so one thing I was going to say, the past several months, Chuck has really brought some special editions to the Cigar Social.
Trying to, yeah.
Yeah, some things really are hard to find, some exclusives, especially for this area, but really kind of hard to find. There are some really awesome gems here at the Cigar Social right now. Like I said, the Gurkha, the Zodiac release, the Year of the Dragon. Excited to smoke this when we said we brought this in and we'd be reviewing this today. We've got several God of Fire lines.
We have Plasencia Year of the Snake.
Year of the Snake, right?
That's another one.
We got some great Padron offerings right now too.
We just got some anniversary E.P. Carrillo in today. This is from our wonderful concierge down in Fort Lauderdale. He puts me on to some really, really nice stuff. Very knowledgeable man. He's been with us from day one. Outstanding. So between he and the various, well, the Bible, obviously, aficionado, with its reviews and its wealth of knowledge, we're trying to hit on a lot of different points, bringing a lot of faces and offerings to the market that are not your household names, you're not your typical cigar lounge offerings.
Yes.
Because, frankly, the patrons at the Cigar Social are very discriminating palates. They want to try things that they haven't tried or haven't tried in a long time,
right.
i.e. Gurkha, which was very big throughout the early 2000s and into 2010, 12, and it sort of disappeared a little bit.
Yeah, I haven't smoked a Gurkha in a year or two.
Terry, one of our aficionados, our consiglieres here, he loves Gurkha, and he's got some really old-aged, wonderful sticks, stuff that I'd never heard of before, 50-year anniversaries and things like that. Loves the Gurkha, but also would if he were here, would agree that Gurkha, they sort of, they fell off, but they're back.
They're back. They're back, baby. They're back.
So I'm glad, I'm proud to say that we have them here. So come try them.
Another thing too is right now we're the third week of January, and I think this is a great time to come up to Cigar Social, Cigar Lounge. The holidays are over, right? We're wrapping up sports. The college championship game is over. We're going to AFC, NFC playoffs. So not a lot of hardcore sport. I mean, some, but not the bustle.
Softening down. And this is a time if you want to find a really cigar to treat yourself and enjoy it and look for the nuances. I think this is a great time to come on up. Well, that's a great point. And, piggybacking on that great point is, you can only smoke out on your deck and at your fire pit so much without camaraderie, right?
Yeah.
You want to share that camaraderie with people. No better time to come into the Cigar Social now. Try some of these in the refined areas that you can sit and enjoy this, learn about it, smoke it, yay or nay, so you know what to do when the weather breaks. And we do get some nice weather, and you do want to be on the golf course, and you do want to be out at your fire pit. And frankly, strange coming from me, a cigar shop owner, if you decide to buy online, you go and you want to buy these in bulk. You've had the chance to smoke them, chance to experience it, chance to talk to people like Dave, Josh, Shelby, Terry, the whole gang, right? Tyson, Ben, it's Steven. So come on up and experience it, enjoy it, because that's really what this is all about. Nothing wrong with firing it up with your buddies out in the back deck, by all means, But come in here for the refinement. Come in here for the actual true experience of the cigar. There's nothing quite like it.
It's great. Honestly, like you said, the knowledge that's up here, right? The tobacconist, to be able to talk to you about it, and really, you want to geek out about it and find out some great things you can. You can come up here and not think and enjoy, and watch some TV, visit, play on your laptop, hide in a corner. But if you want to, this is a great time of year to check out some of these exclusive offerings and really just pick someone's brain and really. I think the education that really enhances the cigars.
It does. And talk before you try, right? Try before you buy. Well, not try before you buy, but talk to people. Find out what they like about it, what they don't like about it. There's nothing wrong. One thing you always have in common with everybody that comes in these doors is you have something in common, and that's this. Right? Everybody's talking about this. Not the Gurkha necessarily. We're talking about cigars. Come and learn. Come and share. It's a great way to do it. And don't be intimidated by coming in here thinking you don't know, or come in here and pretend that you know and you really don't know, because chances are there's somebody in here that's probably going to know a little bit more than you.
But even a novice could walk in. You're new, you would think, Matt, cigars are pretty cool. I want to get into smoking some things. There is great things to start off with. That'll be great advice. And
learn from the best, right?
Learn from the best. Yeah.
Yeah. Overall, this thing has been consistent all the way down.
Yeah.
Very, very consistent in its tones and its notes. It's smoke. It started to get a little smokier than in the beginning, which is typical. I mean, I will say that that's pretty normal. You get down to this stage of the cigar, it wants to smoke. It wants to be smoked.
Yes.
This is where you can get in a smoke ring contest with Hugh.
Yes.
Have him wipe the floor with you. It's pretty good.
He's the master. This is a little over halfway through. Getting ready to finish up the second third. Moving into the final part of the cigar, and I'm getting some really nice. I'm getting again strong florals. I'm getting that roasted peanut.
I'm getting that soft floral, that soft sort of mix of tastes.
Yeah,
but very subtle and soft.
Yeah, I got three
Nothing
put on
harsh
as I start my palate. Floral starts off, kind of rounds out to a soft, like roasted peanut, and at the very end, a nice little pepper. So Chuck and I are kind of keeping our palates clean tonight, drinking some Pellegrino sparkling water, which I think helps tonight. I'm glad I did not choose a spirit or libation tonight with this.
See, this is another thing too. It's another thing to learn because sometimes you automatically go to that, right?
Yeah.
You either have one going and you light up, or you light up and you pour, and you might pour the wrong thing, right? Everything you do, start to finish on these cigars, affects your experience.
Yeah,
right?
I think you're right. Like, hey man, I love a good scotch, a bourbon, a tequila, love a great beer. With this, so far as I'm enjoying the flavor profiles and the subtleness of it so much that I wouldn't want like a smoky scotch overpowering that. You know what I mean? An oaky bourbon, right? Or a skunky IPA or chocolatey stout really throwing me off. Not saying you could enjoy it with it, but I'm really enjoying that just with the flavors. I'm pretty impressed with this one.
Yeah, this is a really good cigar.
The draw's good. We're getting good smoke off of it.
I kind of knew it would be. I've been putting this off, trying this Gurkha for a while. Dave and I spoke about it the other night when we were smoking another fan favorite. But we decided, that it's 2025. We haven't done a review to date. It was high time that we got back in it, and the Gurkha immediately came to my mind. It may have been because I put my paws on it earlier in the day. I don't know, but that's okay because I saw it and I said, you know what? That's something that we need to try, and I'm glad we did.
Right.
I'm glad we chose this. I think there's 4 different faces that we have of Gurkha right now. So we decided on the year of the dragon, probably because of the name. I don't know. It was provocative.
Well, also,
I like the wrapper.
You like the wrapper. You get a big, beautiful emerald green box front, with it, which really stands
the
out.
presentation definitely led to us wanting to try this. But Dave and I have smoked a lot of cigars together. We've done many reviews, as you hopefully know, especially if you subscribe to our page.
So please like and subscribe.
Yeah, for sure.
Check out our previous reviews.
Check out the Instagram. Check out the Facebook. So we definitely don't go into these things lightly. We definitely focus on what we want to review. And it usually it comes down to a couple of decisions that we make, not necessarily that we haven't had it before, but it's sort of what we feel is the right one for the time, right? This happens to be the middle to the end of January.
Yeah.
And so why not a nice Nicaraguan vase with an Ecuadorian leaf?
Something special at the Cigar Social here, and we will bring some attention to it. I think over the holidays, for me, I was going for some tried and true. I was staying within a certain line that we both love dearly, and just classic enjoying myself, treating myself over the holidays to this higher end line was there. So I was pretty consistent with that over the past kind of into November through December, first part of the year. So I was really excited to branch out.
Yeah, and not only is that part of the fun that we have and the experiences that we get to do, but one of the goals that we're trying to do is we're trying to bring this out to you so that you get an idea, a sense of what you may or may not be getting into with something like this, right?
Right.
It's your hard-earned money. You want to come in, you know, some of the reviews that we do are on higher-end cigars, higher-priced cigars. So get an idea of what you may be getting into. It may not be for you, but at least you know that, well, the Gurkha year of the dragon might not be for me for the following reasons. I don't like earth, I don't like pepper, I don't like, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we're here to do that for you. Hopefully it makes sense.
It's a tough job. We're willing to do it for you.
Oh man, we take the arrows.
That's right.
But yeah, Dave, I would say easily 94,
Yeah.
93, 94 all day long. This is a really good cigar.
Very good cigar. What, without getting into too specifics, what is the price point set of this? Is this not quite an entry level, more of a mid-range,
This is
higher mid-range?
24.
Okay.
24 and change.
Really, for that price?
So it's you know,
Fantastic cigar, yeah.
It's right in that sweet spot.
So if you did want to try it, hey, that's, you know, for your enjoyment and some things, it's definitely worth a pickup, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah. Once in a while, that's pretty tolerable.
Well, especially for exclusive release, right?
Yeah.
Special release.
And yeah,
That's
you're
a great-
getting a special release for sure.
For mid-20s, that's fantastic.
I'm sure that maybe you have probably seen the views for Gurkha that are in the thousands.
Right.
You know, $1,000 a stick. I mean, that's you got to really want to smoke that one. But yeah, 24, 25 bucks. It's worth every penny of that. In my
Every
opinion.
penny. Every penny. I think that's great. Also, when Chuck and I do these reviews, I kind of like asking Chuck that question midway through because I don't know when we go into this. So kind of like some people, I like the bourbon tastings and things like that, blind tasting. I watch some of those reviews online, and it's kind of fun because people talk. You know, obviously, hey, I'm going to buy a $100 cigar. Is it or $100 bourbon or expensive? You know, hey, this is a $100 shot libation. Whatever you're going to do, does that cloud your judgment? And I don't want that to cloud my judgment. I've been honestly kind of shocked. I think we smoked one and I said, wow, this is fantastic. And you told me we were in the teens, low teens for one of our cigars. And I was like, that's amazing.
Right,
For
right.
this.
The Angelino was one of them.
Yeah. I think it was
I
about
think
$13,
Los
$14.
Calaveras.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some really, and again, going back to what we were saying a few minutes ago, that's why we're doing this. We want to get it out there to say, hey, this one's only 14 bucks, this one's 24 bucks, this one's 80 bucks, right? You're getting a chance to see it, hear it, and have a review done on it so that you don't necessarily have to do that. You don't have to spend it to wonder what's in it, right?
Right.
Now, the only thing that we could go further with was if we were doing a combination of a pairing. But I think we're going to leave that up to you because I think that gets more into the personal side of things. We call this in the cigar world. This is an experience, right? Each time you do this, it's an experience. It's unique to you. Dave and I can sit here and tell you all day long how there's pepper, there's nuts, there's this, there's that. You may not experience that. You may experience something totally different. So for us to sit here and say, well, I've got a scotch, and you've got a bourbon, and I've got a beer, and you've got a wine, I've got a Pellegrino, and you have a chocolate milk, that's not necessarily going to be what you want to pair with. So by bringing that whole other side of it in, I think is unfair in a way. So we stick to the cigars, and hopefully you learned something today on this wonderful Gurkha Year of the Dragon.
The Dragon. You know what? I'm moving into my final third. I'm getting really great palate off of this. I'm even getting a little, I want to say, tingle on my lips, but I'm getting really full flavor out of this now. Again, I'm still sticking to that floral, man. I'm getting a floral. I'm getting
All the way through.
lush earthiness with it.
Towards the end, I'm getting more grass.
More grass, yeah, a little grassy, lush grass, nice floral note, some nice grass. You get a little touch of mint at the end, but then you got some nice deep down earthy flavors. So you got these flavors up top. You know, like I say, the floral, the mint is up top, grassy is followed by that. Then you get some depth with, you know, I'm still going with that roasted peanut, a little cacao, and then you get a nice wood tone with that pepper just laying the base the whole time from that Nicaraguan.
Yeah,
it's there. There.
I'm
It's
getting
not
a wood
overpowering.
tone with. I'm noticing your mint.
Yeah.
It's subtle, but it's there. It's definitely mint. It's not mint. It's not like chewing a piece of Wrigley's spearmint gum. Don't get me wrong. There's no super flavor.
Yeah, it's like not throwing in a breath saver or
You're
an
not-
Altoid, nothing like that.
Right. And Altoid's a really good. That's a really good example. You know, that kind of oof. Oh boy, that's some serious spearmint. It's there, and it's on the back end of it, but it's there for sure. I'm almost thinking a rosemary wood type taste.
Yeah. Herbal.
Like
Herbal.
when you open up your humidor and you smell the Spanish cedar, you get that sort of almost like a minty. There's something there, like a rosemary or a peppermint,
I think
but not sweet.
as you get down to the heat of the cigar, it's not hot. You know.
No, even as far down as I am right now.
Yeah. But I think the heat of the cigar, as we're finishing this up, is really, really exemplifying those flavors. Fun. That's where I think a lot of fun that too comes with cigars that last a little bit. You know, I think you're going for it too. You just want to keep smoking it, don't you? Almost where you wish there was a little more. Don't want it to end.
Don't want it to end.
That's a really fun cigar. That's a fun cigar. It's a fun time to have.
It's also, I think, speaks to quality too. I mean, when you have a cigar that you just don't want it to go out. A lot of guys will get the pick, and they'll smoke it with the pick. I don't usually do that. I actually, nothing usually about it. I don't do that because if it gets down to the point where it's getting close to burning your fingers, it's time to put it out. But you just wish you had another inch on there to go, so that you have a little bit more to taste. Especially when you're sitting with a guy like Dave, who's bringing up these examples of notes, and they're like, "Oh, I have to try it one more to see if I can agree with it, right?"
Yeah.
Because he's usually not off.
So the well-constructed cigar, great draw all the way through.
Great draw. Stayed together nicely.
Yeah.
The end stayed together nicely.
Oh, yeah.
Still a torpedo at the end. Perfect burn all the way through. I didn't have to do anything.
Doesn't get
All I
too
had to
hot.
do was roll it. Fine. So you can't ask for much more than that. Though. That's what you want in a cigar.
Especially
Gurkha.
Gurkha.
94.
Solid. Yep.
94. For sure.
Yep. For me, definitely. Yep. 90s. I agree. Low 90s for that. It's really enjoyable. I would buy another one. Yep. So we got Gurkha, Year of the Dragon. AJ Fernandez was one of the ones. There's like 4 or 5 different blends. We got the AJ Fernandez, and what's the other one that you got?
EP Carrillo.
The Carrillo.
Anything else, Josh? Josh, you'd really like this cigar.
Yeah.
You're going to have to smoke one of these because, you know, Josh doesn't come on camera all that much, but he's, you know, his knowledge of this stuff is bar none, top shelf, and if he likes it, I know you're going to like it. So, come on in. We are open Tuesday through Thursday from 12 noon to 9 p.m. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Sunday, noon to 9. So get in here and enjoy one of these beauties among our other offerings. Dave, thank you very much.
Hey, thank you for the opportunity.
Outstanding review.
And like I said, don't be a stranger. Come on up to the social. Come enjoy this time of year at the
And-
social. It's a great time to be here.
Obviously, subscribe to the page so you can see more of this. Dave and I are committed to doing this at least once a week, so hopefully the next one will be as enjoyable as this one has been. And without further ado,
stay smoky, my friends.